What's up, and welcome to the Sisterhood Corner. To the newbies, welcome. To those who've been here before, welcome back. It's time for another letter. This one reads, hubby cheated to get a tender. Hi, Sisterhood Corner. I am at a crossroads. I'm a married woman in a 38th year of life. I suppose if you had asked me at the beginning of the year, I would have said I am happily married. But now, not so much. I've been married for the past 7 years and have a son. Though I love my son, I'm not going to lie, I don't particularly enjoy motherhood. My husband and I have had conversations about this and have agreed that one child is enough for us. This is especially because we love traveling and having fun as a couple. In fact, that's how we met. We were both on a vacation in Europe. I am also passionate about my career, which I have managed to grow into a business of my own. The business demands a lot of my time, so adding another child would really put a strain on me as well as our relationship. Another thing, I don't think having kids was ever in his agenda. When I met him, he was already 40 and had no kids. He let it slip in one of our conversations, in fact, that he didn't really like kids. So when I suggested that we stop with the baby making after the one child, he was more than happy to oblige. Now, this doesn't take anything away from the fact that he's a great dad to our boy. He's also a great husband, provider, protector. Just an overall amazing man. This is why writing this fills me with so much confusion. First, let me say this. We live in the lap of luxury and are extremely happy. Now, that's usually a very tricky combo to strike. You know, happiness and money in the same sentence. Those who know what I'm talking about. Generally, people who have money a lot don't have the happiness part. But we have struck gold. We have both. What's sad, though, is that the money that allows for this living has come through ill-gotten means. I found out that the secret to my husband's successful tender bids has been as a result of him having an affair with the woman who I thought was his business partner. See, my husband is a tender tycoon. So he's been awarded quite a few tenders. And to me, it was a case of him being the brilliant man that he is. Turns out he had to bed another woman to bring money home. This woman has been to our home several times, bought my son a toy or two on several occasions. And just that thought makes my blood boil. My husband has explained how tough the tender bidding space has become, and that he is in way too deep at this point to stop. Somehow, his reasons make sense, but because I'm bitterly angry, it's as if he never explained anything to me. Granted, my business is fairly small and wouldn't sustain our lifestyle But for him to resort to this, he says it's not a love thing. He has assured me there's no love connection, purely a business transaction. That infuriated me even more. I asked if he is a male prostitute, and he did not take too kindly to that. I suppose I could have worded it differently, but remember, this was all said during an angry confrontation. Sure. I don't know what to say. Okay, let me go back to the letter. He further asked me to show him respect as he is the head of the household. Granted, what he did was wrong, but I do not have a right to speak to him in that tone. I'm seriously conflicted. I am angry at his betrayal. On the other end, I do recognize that if he ends this affair, then we will all suffer financially. On the flip side of this, I hate the fact that this woman has power, has the power, or wields a certain power over us because of her connections to these tenders. In the meantime, I've asked him not to tell her, I know, so I can process this. Besides, once she knows, she will start openly disrespecting me. How do I know this? I've been a woman all my life. I know exactly what she will do. I know that's exactly what she will do. What do I do? Thank you so much for your letter. I appreciate it. Sure, it's a heavy one, eh? It's really, really a heavy one. It's like infidelity, and then it's like infidelity, but it's not the infidelity we used to, when a man just sleeps with somebody for no flippant reason, and you find out and he's having an affair. But in this case, like it's exactly how you put it. This woman has power, and it's almost like it's not just an affair for your husband. He's just probably one of the people suckling at the power tit. You know what I mean? But the difference with he's suckling, his is a literal suckle at the power tit. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's just one of those. It's like, what do you get angry at? How do you get angry at this? It's almost like with every day, because we're emotional beings as women. I can promise you, with each day that's proceeded since you found out, each morning you wake up, you're angry at something completely different. You've had time to process and think, and then the next day you're angry at this one aspect, and then so it's sure it's going to be a roller coaster for you for a long time emotionally. And I think the question you should ask yourself is whether you are strong in, whether you want to ride it out, and if so, to what extent, right? Because think about it this way: if number one, you don't say how long he's been busy with these tenders. You know what I mean? When exactly got into the tender business and that kind of thing. He's clearly a tenderpreneur, but I mean, we don't know how long he's been at the game, and also how long they've had this affair where it's an exchange, right? But we are also not kids. You are also not a child. You've heard of these exchanges, right? There are a lot of guys you've heard about who are in these exchanges. So now you need to now look at your own moral compass. Does this sit well with who and what you stand for? Right? That's going to be your decider in terms of whether you stay in the marriage or not. Now, infidelity on its own, at the end of the day, it's still infidelity, regardless of the reasons. And the fact that this woman has been to your house, I think that was disrespectful. He knew what they were doing. And as women, we know what that means. If a woman comes to your house knowing very well she sleeps with your man, we all know what that means, what that is. So she already thinks she holds some kind of cards So you're going to have to, it's only a matter of time before she comes into your house, into your face, and, comes and tells you this to your face. You just need to figure out whether you wanted to get there, or because you might have told your husband not to tell her, but I can promise you he's already told her, right? Probably in panic. Oh, let's end this. My wife knows. And then she's probably going to be like, oh, really now? Right? We are women. We know how vindictive women can be. So this is going to get messy. But I think also you need to now think about where you want to be when it gets messy. It's not a question of if, it's when. All right? I like the part where you say, because then that means you've put your best thinking cap on when you say you told him not to tell her because you still want to process. Then that means you're not an emotional person. So you want to sit down and think about this properly, right? So in all of your thinking, I believe you'll come up with something. As a woman, when you sit by yourself, it's a natural thing. Something is bound to come to you. And the very first thing that comes to you, that is exactly what you should do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I think this is one of those where your moral compass is going to have to come into play. You're going to have to think of what's more important, the lap of luxury, based on this woman, or your sanity, your what you stand for as a person, integrity, all of those things. All of those things are going to have to come into play. You're going to have to decide on that basis. But whatever the case is, this woman is already in your marriage. And I tell you, it's not going to end well, especially now that you know. I think it probably worked out better. But once she knows, I can promise you, now it's going to really get ugly. But I hope you make a decision based on you and your kid. And if you get to a point where you feel like you want to leave, I'd suggest a trial separation. It'll give you clarity before you go for the absolute divorce, because that alone will help you clarify things in your head. But anyway, let's hope it doesn't get to that. I hope I did help. Good luck.